I had this chuck roast in the freezer and it needed to be used. So that's the reason why we're preparing it for this week. And I like to take things out that are from the freezer several days in advance so it has a chance to thaw and get ready for the day that we're going to prepare it. So we're going to get this back into the refrigerator because I'm not preparing it for today. Hello, my friends. I like to go through my freezer and take out some of the things that have been in the freezer maybe just a tad bit too long and try to go ahead and use those as quickly as possible. Now, the great thing is that when I was cleaning out the freezer, I found this package of beef chuck roast. And so I think we'll use that this week. I also pulled a pack of pork steaks. So I'll put both of those into the refrigerator so they can thaw, and we'll have those ready for a night of dinner. Everyone has a basic pantry, and today I'm going to be using some of the basic things that I keep all the time. One thing that I always have is no salt seasoning. Another is Worcestershire, soy sauce, my basic house seasoning, and some type of broth. Now, because we're going to be preparing beef today, I've taken out the beef broth. I did not make it. I don't have any homemade, so I'm going to have to use the Swanson in the can. Now, something else that you might want to keep on your spice shelf are things like Italian dressing, seasoning, those little packets that you can get from Knorr. Also, onion soup mix is a great thing to have on your pantry shelf as well because you can use it for so many different dishes and you get all the flavors that you want and very quickly. Today, we're going to be putting together a delicious meal, and it's going to be one that we're going to make in the crock pot. And we're doing it with a somewhat budget-friendly recipe. The chuck roast that we're going to actually cook in a slow cooker. And the reason for doing that is because of the fact that we know that if we cook it in the slow cooker, low and slow, that the meat is going to be tender because chuck roast is not always tender. So that's something that we want to make sure happens for our family. Now, I have prepped it, I have seasoned it, and I have all kinds of goodies in this bag. I'm doing this several days in advance with a marinade so that once I seal this up, it will go into the refrigerator for several days, have a chance to work through that chuck roast, and when it's time for us to put it into the slow cooker, it's going to be delicious. You'll see in the bag that I've added carrots, celery, potatoes, onions, and of course, all of the seasonings. I also added the marinade, and I'll give you the recipe for that. But in addition to that, I'm going to add in a partial bottle of Pinot Grigio that I just happen to have in the refrigerator because I think it's going to kick up the flavor. So we'll put that in as well. One thing that I love sharing with my new home cooks, as well as reminding those of us who are more seasoned well cooks, that making preparations is always valuable. The nice thing is that today I walked in and I was in a hurry. And so I knew that I had a lot going on. So it was so nice to be able to walk into the kitchen in the morning, put everything into the slow cooker, and close the top and let it cook for the rest of the day. So keep that in mind. When you make preparations in advance, it just shortens your cooking time later. And remember we did that toasted flour? Well, we're going to pull that out a little later because after these juices have all had a chance to cook for about 6 hours, I'm going to go back in and add just a little thickening to it so that we'll have a delicious gravy for our beef stew. You can see all of this good juiciness that's down in our crock pot. And what I'm going to do is that, first of all, I'm going to take a knife and just kind of cut my meat into cubes because I'm actually going to use this for multiple dishes. So I'm going to kind of cut it into 3 because it'll be more than enough just for the big guy and I to have 3 meals from. Now tonight, we're just going to eat it as a stew. But I'm going to get some of that toasted flour, and we're going to thicken this up just a little bit. I'm going to take some out. It's nice and hot. Let's take it out like that. Put a heaping teaspoon in, and we're going to thicken it right here. Make what we need. That's all it really needs is fat and the flour. There we go. See how it's thickened up very quickly? I'm going to get all of that nice and mixed. And then I'm going to add just a little more of the juice. And all of this is going to come together very quickly. Now, the nice thing about doing it this way is that then I can drop it into my crock pot, and we have a nice thickened mixture that's going to be ready to go. No lumps. And we're ready to go. So, and drop it in. And just continue to mix. Take all of that out. Everything out. There we go. And we're going to have a delicious beefy gravy. Now, what I'm thinking is that one night, I'm going to bring some of this beef, I'm going to chop it up, and we're going to have a beef vegetables soup. I have a little bit of cabbage, and I'm going to add some cabbage to the beef, and we'll have a kind of a beef cabbage or a cabbage beef soup. And another night, I may go with a little bit of pasta with the beef, or even rice with the beef. But our gravy, it's time to taste. Let's see what we're doing here. Let me bring you in just a little bit closer first. We have a delicious consistency at this point. Now I'm going to let this continue to cook for another hour. It has about 1 more hour, but I do want to taste it just to make sure that the seasonings are just right. Mmm. After an hour, I had cubed the beef and just took out a bowl. I had some biscuits that were in the refrigerator, and actually, they were in my use it up bowl. So, because of that, I went ahead and took those out, warmed them up, and we're going to have a bowl of beef stew along with a biscuit. And that's going to be a great dinner for tonight. Now, here's my round two dinner. You'll notice that I've cut that beef up into teeny tiny pieces. And we're going to make some beef vegetable soup. I've got leftover beef broth. I pulled all of the potatoes and carrots and onions that we had. So this is just the broth. I also added 2 cans of mixed vegetables because I'm working out of the pantry. I also put in a can of cubed tomatoes and little diced tomatoes to go in as well. Now, I'm going to mix this. I'm going to add in a little more house seasoning because I want a little more garlic and a little more onion powder, and give all of this a good zhuzh. I'm going to put in some more broth. I'll either use broth or I may actually use water and fill this so that I can make enough soup for tonight's dinner, as well as have a couple of containers left over for another day for lunch. All right, the first thing I'm going to do now is to add 2 quarts of broth. And this is better than bouillon that I'm adding in with a quart of water. I wanted you to see that off camera, I added an extra teaspoon of house seasoning and an extra teaspoon of no salt seasoning. And now I'm going to put in a pinch of red pepper flakes just to kick up that peppery flavor. It's not going to be spicy, but it's just going to give our soup great flavor. I'm also going to add 1 cup of pasta sauce. And you know, my favorite is Hunt's, but you know, whatever you have on your pantry shelf, then that's what you use. I'm just going to dip that in there and get it rinsed off because we don't want to waste a thing. Now, with my spoon, let's get this nice and stirred up so that our soup is going to cook. I'm going to let this cook low and slow for the next 4 hours. And oh my goodness, by dinner time, we're going to have a delicious beef vegetable soup. I've been able to stretch this beef chuck roast into 3 meals. And what we did the beef stew first, and now I have 2 amazing meals of beef vegetable soup.